Thanks, Peter. Louise, I'll take the lead, I guess, and I might throw to you if I get some curly questions a bit later on. Um, but as Peter mentioned, we are here to talk about the values, and I think what we're looking to do speaks really well with what John Wilson was just talking about. So back in January this year, the Leadership and Culture Task Force was formed, which is made up of 11 members across the college. The focus for the task force in recent months has been our college values. So, as I hope most of you would know, we do currently have values, which are excellence, respect, integrity, collaboration, and accountability, or ERICA as they're known. But the values haven't been fully embraced by the business. And I am aware that some are probably going, oh, I didn't know we had any values. So that's one of our problems and what we're looking to address. So I guess part of the reason why there's been a lack of integration is it's not very prevalent in our policies and processes. When they were created, it wasn't in consultation with all RACP employees. And so I guess it's raised the question for the task force, are these the right values for us? And so this has led us to embark on a consultative process to review what our values should be. So the process started in February when we sent out a leadership attributes survey to all of you, and we had a really great response. And it was asking the question, what are the attributes that you think are important in a leader? Based on those results, the task force has come up with quite a long list of draft value statements. And we're looking to take those to you in the workplace to get your feedback on what ones you think are most and least relevant for us. So these value statements, they're not just one word, they're action statements, which really demonstrate how we want these values to look in the workplace. So for example, rather than just the word collaboration, it would be we succeed through collaboration. Collaboration is how we work, build relationships, break silos, connect across roles, teams, functions, and geographies. So you can see it really brings the value to life and paints a very clear picture. So as I mentioned, the task force has come up with quite an extensive list, and we do want to get those that number reduced. The process will involve both RACP employees and our members as well. So we're going to be making use of tools such as Slido and Zoom, which is going to make it really interactive and is something we don't really have much option to use given the current environment. So we will be going out to you guys as our employees to get your feedback using those tools. And as part of the process, that will be that consultation with our members who are currently engaged with the college through committees. It can be tricky engaging members because you do have members that act as, I guess, a customer to us, but then you've got those that are working with you in your committees, and they really can shape the culture of the organisation. And that's something we want to acknowledge. And I think to get that real cultural change, we need to have all those key stakeholders, which includes those members, living those values. So we will be keeping you updated on this process. We're currently just ironing out some of the wrinkly bits and working out what's the best way to do it. It is a bit of a time-consuming process, and it's not going to be a quick one, but we want to do it right because this is key to having that cultural transformation. And if we get that right, even if it takes quite a few weeks to get there, the benefits will far outweigh the time that we've taken to get there. So, Louise, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add on to that?
No, I think that you summed it up nicely. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I can see a number of the task force other members on screen, so it might be worth some of them just waving so people know who they are. I see Christiana and Libby there in front of the beautiful artwork. I know that there are others there. Yeah, so just echoing what you've said, that we would have liked the opportunity to have more conversations with people about this. We still want to have conversations, but we're going to have to use some of these different tools through Zoom and Slido, so we can really feel that we've all had time to reflect on these values and how we want to live by them and be called into account by living by them to the future. So talking about it is a really good way of doing that.
So do we have any questions from anyone?
So while people are maybe thinking of the questions, we'll be sharing a bit more information over coming weeks about why values and the method that we're thinking of following to get people's feedback. So there's going to be lots of opportunity for you to ask questions through that to members of the task force, or as we send out comms saying this is what we're thinking of doing, for you to ask questions at that point. I know big meetings like this, it can be a bit kind of intimidating, so we're happy to take it offline once we talk through the actual method and get some feedback as well.
I think that's it from us. As Louise said, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email People and Culture, and we can refer back to the task force if there's anything that we can't answer.
Thanks, Peter. Hello again, everybody. It's good to see you all on the screen today, as many of you can on one slide. So as Peter said, it is a conservative return to the office. What I've got today is I'm just going to share my screen with some of the resources that we've created through a consultative approach right across the organisation, both with leaders, with the COVID-19 working group, with our work health and safety representatives across the business. So we've really got a comprehensive suite of resources that put us in a really good place when we open up our doors again for people wanting to go back into the office. What's important to highlight is it's already been touched on about how each between New Zealand certainly in a better place than Australia with COVID-19. Indeed, from state to state, we're seeing what's happening, what's unfolding. You know, we've got South Australia and Western Australia, which are pretty much leading the pack, and Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria thereafter. But one thing we have started to do is to go through registration of an acknowledgement of a COVID-safe workplace. That requires us to have these types of resources, systems and processes to make sure that the workplace is safe before we have people going back into the workplace. First and foremost, and all these resources that I'm sharing today will either be available in Teams, which you'll see messages coming at you. It's also going to be on the intranet, and there'll be a communication coming out not long after the meeting today or tomorrow, basically with links to all these resources so you can have a closer look at your particular areas and the rules and the processes that apply. So the first screen I'm going to share is, and hopefully you can all see the guidelines document, probably too small for you to look at, but this is a sheet which has the high level controls in the workplace, and I'll go over some of them, and I'm happy to take questions later, and I've got myself a note to remember to look back at the chat box. Hopefully that's big enough for everyone to see, but as Peter said, the government guidelines are a minimum. We're taking a conservative approach. We've actually developed a COVID-19 safety training module, and this goes into a lot of detail about how we're going to manage the workplace and how we will conduct safe work. There are still touch points that we can't control, like transport. We're asking you to be alert in those situations, practice the physical distancing, make sure that you're staggering start and finish times. There's a huge amount of flexibility here. We're not necessarily saying that you must do your 7.5 hours in the office. You could start in the morning at home. You could come into work a little bit later and then miss the peak travel times initially. But the COVID-19 safety training module you'll get allocated it to your RAC people. And for those that are consultants or labour hire or short-term contracts, we'll actually have a PowerPoint presentation that we'll send out to you, and we will get you signing off on that in a different manner. But for by and large, everybody, you'll be enrolled in the course. It will come in your email, and we'll be asking that you do it in the next week. Now, that doesn't mean that again, like Peter says, we're forcing you into the workplace. It's that we've put the controls in place. Part of the controls is that we're training our workforce in the safe work with RACP. And we're going to be requiring to get that acknowledgement back into RAC people that everybody's done it. Again, we're asking Aotearoa New Zealand to do this as well. You guys are in such a better position than Australia, but we feel it's a good process to go through. It also demonstrates our commitment to making sure you're a safe workplace, and what's going to happen, or in the horrible event or the unfortunate event that we do have a confirmed case of COVID-19, and how we're going to manage that. But in summary, in very quick summary, if and when we do, we'll be pulling the people out. But it's very important, if there's things that I can stress to you, is follow the processes and the systems that we've created, because it provides us with a record-keeping trail of who's been where. And with everybody with your swipe cards, if you're in the building, we're asking you, often we walk around from building to building or location to location in groups. We're asking that when you do that, please swipe at every location so that we've got a backup that says Wayne went over to 145 on this day in the Sydney office. Not so much in New Zealand, it's a bit different as well, but similar. But certainly in the regional sites, it's still important to know who's been in the office on certain days. Employees to discuss their return to work arrangements. As Peter said, nobody's being directed to go back into the office. This is just making the offices available. The leaders are considering and are very considerate of what's going to be the case-by-case basis. If you're a person who is vulnerable or has a member of family, then we want to support you being in a safe space. And that was one of the questions which was asked prior to today's Zoom meeting. And I'd just like to reinforce that nobody's going to be forcing you back if you've got a situation that requires later on consideration further. We are requiring, when I show you one of the floor plans, you'll see just how many desks are not being able to be used, because we need to monitor physical distancing. We need to make sure that we're providing safe systems and safe processes for when people go back. And when I show you the floor plan, you'll just see what that looks like. But our workplaces will be considerably restricted with the amount of people that we can have in each location. And for Australia, we're asking all employees to book the workstation that they might be working at. We're asking everyone to keep the physical distance. Our meeting rooms will have numbers on them of how many participants they'll be allowed in each room. So even when we do go to the office, there may be, we won't necessarily be able to all be in the same room anyway. We'll still be on Zoom, or we'll be conducting ourselves in a safe distance. We'll have disposable crockery and cutlery, and cups will be available in the kitchen. We're asking everybody to take your device home every day. And the reason we're asking you to do that is if we do have a notification, if for some reason things turn adverse, such as Melbourne has experienced at the moment, you may get that automated message overnight saying, do not come to the office tomorrow and work from home. So please, everybody, even though it's sometimes a bit of a nuisance, please take your device home every day. Unpackaged food is not permitted to be left in the kitchen. The fridges will be emptied nightly by cleaners. I also ask that no food's left on the desks. In fact, we're asking everybody to clean off all the desks so that our cleaners can do the best possible clean at the end of every day. Consider your building entry and egress and physical distancing in the lifts. This is one of the main choke points for all employers in the foyers waiting for elevators and that type of thing. We do ask that you maintain that physical distance, and you will need to allow a bit of time as people start to head back into the office to ensure that you can get up into your workstation in a reasonable time. There's been a lot of questions about what's the long-term outlook for remote work. And Peter's made it clear that remote working is going to be an integral part of the college moving forward. It was interesting to hear John's comments a little while ago about, there is an economic benefit to be had. And it's about us getting that balance right. But at this point in time, our focus is on making sure that the workplace is available for those who want to go back. And we will be talking in more detail later about what does the balance look like. Staying safe and well, perhaps one of the biggest messages that we can leave with today is that if you're not feeling well, do not come to work. Please do not come to work, especially if you've got symptoms that are, scratchy throat, the fever, those types of things, or respiratory, please get tested. Please isolate yourself, and most of all, don't feel that you have to work when you're at home. If you're not well, and you're better off to take a day off as a personal leave day and get better by resting. And we really encourage that. That's in detail in the training module as well. So the next thing I'll show you is we've got the 13th. We need to clear off all of our desks because many of us left the office in a hurry. I need to share another screen with you now, so bear with me while I get that. This is always the hard bit, getting that back. Where's it? Stop sharing. If only it could swell more. So now we're going to go share. Okay, so right, you can see here when we're asking that all employees clear off their desks so our cleaners can do a proper sanitary clean at the end of every shift. In order to do that, there are
I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't you? Sorry. Thank you for voicing up. It's hard to monitor the chat at the same time. My computer's having a little bit of a meltdown today for some reason. I don't know why. Can you see that now? Can you see the green Excel? Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
So you can see here what we're asking people to do is that on the Monday and Tuesday, so we're proposing that we're going to reopen the offices for those who would like to go to the office from Monday the 13th of July. In order for us to be able to clear off the desks, we need to manage the ins and outs of that. And what we're proposing is that we've booked a 1 hour time slots over those 2 days where up to so many places can go within the one time slot. We'll easily get Sydney offices and other offices cleaned out in this time. So we're asking that you book a time that's suitable for you over those 2 days. You don't have to come in. If you have a team member that wants to go in, or we're more than happy for you to arrange with a team member or a buddy that they will tidy off your desk. But we are asking that all desktops are clean and also underneath as well, just to tidy up the workplace. And you'll see why in a minute when I show you the floor plans. So what will happen is you'll literally go here. You'll go, I'm going to go in. Wait, please put your surname as well so that we can again monitor. We've got to record it. We need to keep these records just in case we have a spike and an acknowledgement of a COVID-19 confirmed case. And as soon as you put in that I'm going to go in on that day, it'll turn red and you'll be able to see quickly how we're filling up the spaces in that day. But we've highlighted the top sections there so that, try to avoid the traffic, the peak times in the traffic if you're coming in. If you wanted to drive in, you could, but there's only limited parking with RACP, of course, but all of the parking stations have great specials on at the moment, so I hear. So if you wanted to do that, I'd check that with your local parking station. So this one, hopefully if this remains, you should be able to flick. You can still see can you see the, yep, good. So this is what's going to happen on a monthly basis until further notice. And it's essentially similar to the sheet that I showed you before, but these are the workstations, and I'll show you the map in a minute, but these are the workstations that you can book. Now what that's doing is actually separating us. So we're not sitting next to each other. We're not sitting back to back. We're trying to maintain the 1.5 metre physical distance at all times. We've got a number of signage going up around the workplace. It'll be on the floors. There'll be directional flows. There'll be all sorts of material to remind us of physical distancing. But again here, if we're going to go, your desk may not be available. Your desk may be identified as not as a workstation. And we're asking that you respect that. We are cleaning the desks off daily. We're also providing hand sanitized stations around the workplace. You can clean the desks throughout the day. And if you wanted to book it, again, a full name, please. And you see just it does exactly what. So on Wednesday, the 15th, I've booked on level 5 on 70 Phillip Street. I've booked desk workstation number 2. Okay, we'll be using this, and please don't change people unless you speak to them and get their agreements, because it is only an Excel spreadsheet that will be used in the all teams section, and we'll be monitoring who goes where, what days you're there. Okay, so that's the system that we're using. What I'm going to do now is to share with you one of the floor plans. Where's my floor plan? See, this is one of the floor. I'll enlarge that, but you can generally see, you can see the colors there. I hope it's probably small on some screens, but you can see the red. These are obviously the pinch points where we've got a lot of, you're crossing people, that type of thing, where it has to be two directional travel. And so you're coming out the doorway in level 5. Let me make that a bit larger. You can see here the red desks are obviously desks that are no-go zones, but also the orange desks here, we've taken them out of service because they're in traffic flows. So what we are asking is that people navigate the floor area in a certain direction. So if you're working over this side of level 5, to go to the bathrooms, you shouldn't go this way. You should please follow the directional signage, go all the way around the desks and through the other side. It just helps us as we get more people in the building. It actually just helps us with controlling that flow and minimizing the crossover. But you can see here, we've taken out the photocopiers, for example, in level 5 and level 6, because they'd be pinch points or bottlenecks of people moving around as they're copying. So one copy is temporarily relocated over near here, and the other one is used in meeting room 5.1. So we're trying to make the workplace as safe as possible. You can see here in the tea room, a maximum of 12 people at any one time. We are asking that there'll be no communal food there, so we'll have to put a hold on the fruit stations and all that type of thing. But we'll be asking that you wipe down the benches and so forth after use, so that we are providing safe systems of work. And so each of the floor plans will be online, as I say. When you're booking it, if it all works right, when you click on that cell that you've booked the workstation, it will automatically show you where that desk is located with the corresponding map. Okay, so I'll stop sharing that for a minute and go to the chat box. We do have some questions. There's also a number of people do cycle to work, and we did talk about whether the showers would be available. We have made showers available, only one set of showers available with a roster system, and similar to your booking a workstation, there's a sheet there for the showers. And the showers that are being identified are the ones that are on level 6 because they have a hand basin in the vestibule. So that after you finish showering and getting dressed and spraying it down, you'll be able to wash your hands as you leave that area. But that is a strict control. There will be procedures that those people that use the showers will be required to follow, and we ask that you do. And it'll be basically spraying with sanitizer before and after your shower, just to be doubly sure. More detail in that to come, and it will also be on our booking sheet when that goes online, so you'll know what's expected. We've got some questions. Is there a list of the values we can review, is one question from Kevin. Yes, you will actually be involved in reviewing all the values, and as you go through that process, we'll start to get feedback and to arrive at the right number and appropriate values. So you're gonna get the big list, and we'll be working collaboratively together to arrive at the final list. Yes, we're all looking for all 293. Okay, oh, good on you, Lois. I'd recommend having a list of 10 from the task force. We can't see your screen, thank you. If we are on leave, can we book another time? Monday the 13th and Tuesday the 14th are the days that you're able to go and clear out your desk. If that doesn't work for you, please reach out to Ray or your local PCT person, and we'll sort something out for you. But by and large, we should be able to clear it out. And as I said, if you can get a team member to grab your things and box it up, I believe we've got some boxes in store for that. We encourage you to work the most flexible way that you can do it while we're still making sure that all the desks are wiped clean by 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 14th. is there a timeline for the lift in 145 to be completed? I believe that's mid-July, Ray, if is that correct?
Sorry, that's the end of July.
End of July. Okay. I envisage we'll still be in the same state by the end of July, to be quite frank. Where are we? Just looking at the questions. What are the dates for optional return? I think we've answered that, Darren. The layout's been shown. What are the dates for optional return to regional offices? That will depend. Melbourne won't be for a while yet, but please stay tuned. We're saying that the regional offices, South Australia, Queensland, Perth is waiting to get their new one, but we can start from the 13th as well. What is the limit of persons allowed in the lift at any one time? It's 2 to 4, but bear in mind it's going to take some time to get up and running. So that's you need to plan for that in the travel time and to lunches and so forth. What has the building arranged appropriate signage for other tenants? Yeah, we'll be putting signage in the foyers as well. There's also signage that'll be going on the glass. It's all going to be RACP. We're taking the initiative there rather than relying on the building management to do the standard that we want it to. So there's a whole bunch of stuff happening there. What is the process for external people coming into the office? Are we not allowing this until further notice? When you're talking about, we're still going to have deliveries and things happen. There are systems, and they've got to check in, they've got to sign in, they've got to follow our protocols. This is our return to office. We're not discussing at this point the members returning to our office and continuing services as normal. Lisa and Patrick will have more detail on that in the coming weeks. It's currently being worked on and what it looks like, what it will look like. But at this point, it's purely just the ability for us to go back into the office if we want to. Have the workstations on site been numbered? Yes, they will be numbered. They'll be numbered as per the floor plan. So when you get to see it, you'll be able to see where your normal desk is and the number on it, which is quite easily identifiable. Norman Swan says that once we have shared the same air for 15 minutes, this physical distance doesn't make any difference. Are there any develops rendering? We're actually getting the air tested in the offices, and that's in process at the moment, I believe. And we need to also manage where the government's at with this space, and at this point New South Wales and the other states are in a very good position, and the community transmissions are virtually zero there. I believe out of the 3 cases we had in the last 24 hours, they were for new entrants. So it's about managing that transmission in that manner. But we'll be monitoring it closely. You'll get regular updates. If in a horrible event we do start to increase new cases, we'll be putting in appropriate measures. At least everyone will get their 10K steps up. Yes, Angela. To help people sit well at a desk, will support to lift up keyboards and screens. Would anticipate that we can set wipe up. Yeah, there'll be wipe up and wipe down facilities, but it would be good to know if there will be things that we can use to adjust for us. Rebecca, to help people sit well at a desk.
So, Wayne, I'm talking about, I tend to use like books or like a physical lift, because I'm quite a tiny person, so back, neck issues. Does that make more sense?
Yeah. Have you not got the telescopic monitors?
Not for my laptop. So the laptops needs to sit, and so is there a way around that, or like a keyboard lift?
What did you have currently?
I think I had my laptop on a couple of reams of paper from memory.
You didn't dock it? Rebecca, I might reach out to you after.
Yeah, that'd be great. Sorry, didn't mean that to get...
No, that's fine. It's really important, because if one person's asking it, there are a lot of people thinking it. But certainly the docking station should still be used. There'll still be the big monitors. If there's the keyboards are an interesting question, because what I'm recommending to people, you will have your lockable desk drawers. and they should be they'll remain yours. And this is more in the detail of the documents, but they will remain yours. You can lock away your keyboard and mouse in them, or you may be taking them home daily anyway. If you're using so take your keyboard, your mouse, and your dongle that's in that black docking station, and keep it with you at all times, so that you're basically minimizing the flow. If you've got like me, I ended up purchasing one at home. My keyboard is still on the desk. I'll just lock that away when I go back in for the day, just to get it out of people's way and off the desktops to allow for that cleaning. But Rebecca, I'll reach out in more detail. If anybody else has any particular nuances about their workstation that it could be problematic, please reach out to me. What's the status of the offices and facilities in 145? They're in the same position. We do have the situation with the lift getting replaced at the moment, which does make it a bit noisy. But as we say, you don't need to. If you do want to go in, if the noise is annoying or disturbing, you can pick a workstation over at 70 Phillip Street. Yeah, the chairs on the floor. That's they're gonna be still the same chairs. However, the virus doesn't live. If there was a virus in the building, it doesn't. It lives for, I think it's 2 to 4 hours. Is that on a surface? And that, in that regard, is a low risk, especially with our current cases in New South Wales and across other areas. Do we still have a clear off our desk? Yes, we're asking everybody to clear out their desktops because it will allow our cleaners to go over the whole desktop. Whether or not you have whether your desk is a green station or not, we're asking everybody to clear off their desks and underneath them. If the booking system needs to remain for a long period, will we eventually use a proper booking system? Yes, currently looking at that. And it will be a longer term system that is a lot more efficient than an Excel spreadsheet, certainly. Yeah, but we just didn't really have the time there to get a sourced product, get it installed, have it ready working without any hiccups. How can we ensure that there is a fair opportunity to book a test? It is first in, first served. If you've got a particular situation that you want to have a planning day or something similar, talk with people in culture well in advance, and we will. These rosters will be these workstation booking sheets will be a month in advance. But if you've got something that you and the team all agree you're going to come into the workplace for, then let us know and we'll book it out. Any update on member stakeholder contact? I think I touched on that already. There'll be more information to come in that space. Members, that's the same. Are members allowed to come back on site? A lot of us have taken our keyboards and mouse. I just talked about that. You'll take your keyboard and mouse to the workplace when you're there. We'll ask any questions. We can come back to the questions of the scene. We're getting to the end of it though. What have we got? Yeah, we've got a few other questions, but they seem to be around the same types of issues. So what I'll do is we'll get all those questions and we'll provide a Q&A sheet. Is there anything that anybody would like to particularly add before we finish up for today?
Wayne?
Yes.
Maybe if I could just add to that, there will be self-cleaning stations for staff to use themselves, and that's twofold. Will enable them to clean their actual workspace, and also the devices. There's a separate product that's safe to use on the touch screens, as well as a night clean, which will take place to sanitize the workspaces. And that's really why it's important to have the desks 100% clear, so that we can cover off those surfaces in detail. But just wanted to add those self-cleaning stations will be available for all staff.
That's right. Peter, did you have any closing comment?
Okay, well, thank you for that very comprehensive rundown, Wayne, and for your input. Now, I think we've covered the topics well. If there are questions that arise after this Zoom, you can email People in Culture. Other than that, please be safe, be sane. We're looking forward to, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing some of you in a few weeks' time as we start interacting a little bit. So it's been a long way to here. And while we won't all be back in the office the same days, I think we'll all appreciate saying hello to a few friends. So be safe, be well. Look forward to saying hello in the flesh to a few of you fairly soon.
Just the urgency on completing that training module when you've been enrolled for it, please. And signing it.
Thanks, Golf. Okay. Bye-bye.
Everybody, cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.